Okay, so today we'll discuss JEE Advanced 2012 paper 1, chemistry paper. Start with question number 21. So it's given in alene C3H4, the type of hybridization of the carbon atoms is our alene structure is clear. Alene structure is this one. So in this structure, if you write the hybridization of carbon, it is sp2, sp and sp2. So possible hybridization is sp and sp2, and hence the answer is B. Okay. Then question number 22. 22 is given for 1 mole of van der Waals gas when B equal to 0 at T equal to 300 Kelvin. That the PV versus 1 by V plot is as shown below. And the value of van der Waals constant A you have to find out. So graph is PV versus 1 by V, and B is given equal to 0. So first you have to make the equation actual. So it is P plus A n square by V square into V minus NB equal to nRT. This is van der Waals equation. And if you'll see in the graph, it's given moles per 1 by V is given moles per liter. That means graph is given for molar volume. So if you put B equal to 0, then our equation will be P plus A by Vm square into Vm is equal to RT. And if you will plot it as PVM is equal to RT minus A by Vm. This will be the equation. Now you will simply compare. We are plotting actually PVM versus 1 by Vm. So in this plot, your slope is minus A. Just compare y is equal to mx plus c. So you can easily say that the slope is minus A. So you have to just find out the slope of this line. You have to just find out the slope of this line. y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1 से calculate करेंगे. So if you calculate from this given data, so from here you can calculate value of A as 21.6 minus 20.1 divided by 1. This comes out to be 1.5. And as per the given options, your answer is C. Is that okay? Now question number 23. In this question, is given the number of optically active products obtained from the complete ozonolysis of the given compound. So first you have to perform ozonolysis over here. So that will be executed at the location of pi bond. So this place, this place, this place. These are the 3 locations where ozonolysis will take place. After ozonolysis, you first write down the products. So these are CH3CHO, HC double bond O, C. This is given CH3, this is H, C double bond OH. Further it is HC double bond O, C, H and CH3. Again C double bond OH. And the last compound is C double bond OH, CH3. So these are the first ozonolysis product. Just check them carefully. And now it is asked that how many of these are optically active. So just check the optical activity of these structures. So you may easily notice that none of them is the chiral center. So no optical activity is observed in any of the product. So answer must be 0. So as per the given options, your answer is A. Clear? Then question number 24. Question number 24 is given a compound MPXQ has cubic closed packing arrangement of X. Its unit cell structure is shown below. The empirical formula of the compound is, so first you want their effective numbers. So you can easily notice that M is present at 4 edge centers and 1 body center. So effective number of M will be effective number of M in a unit cell is equal to effective number of M in a unit cell is equal to effective number of M in a unit cell is equal to 1 contribution from body center and 1 by 4 contribution of 4 edge centers. So this effective number is 2. And now you'll see that X is present at all the corners along with that face centers. So effective number of X in a unit cell is equal to, so total 8 corners with a contribution of 1 by 8 plus 6 face centers with a contribution of 1 by 2. So the effective number is 4. So here formula is M2X4, or you can simply write MX2. M2X4, or you can simply write MX2. So as per the given options, your answer is B. Okay. Then the next question is given the number of aldol reactions that occur to give the transformation CH3CHO plus 4 moles of HCHO with concentrated aqueous NaOH. So you may see that till the time alpha hydrogen is present, it will undergo with aldol condensation, and after that it can undergo Cannizzaro reaction to reach to the final answer. So just check the reaction first. So step of aldol is it will convert to first carbanion. So it is CH2CHO. This is the carbanion which will attack on carbon intramolecular, or you may say crossed Cannizzaro reaction. Oh, sorry, crossed aldol condensation. So this reaction is crossed aldol condensation. So product will be CH2OH, CH2 C double bond OH. And now here you can get the clue that CH2OH unit is added up by one aldol reaction. So here actually 3 units are by the same manner. If you proceed the same step again, if you add base again, this alpha H is eliminated, will form carbanion. And then it will again attack on formaldehyde. So again, cross aldol addition reaction, because here we are not undergoing condensation because heat is not given first thing, and another way is in the option we need CH2OH group, so we are only performing aldol addition reaction, not aldol condensation. So after one more step, one more CH2OH will be added up to this carbon. Now one more acidic alpha H is present, so which is abstracted by the base again, and one more time crossed aldol addition reaction. And finally we reach to this location. And after this we will perform crossed Cannizzaro reaction. So with this crossed Cannizzaro reaction, this group will be reduced and formaldehyde will be oxidized to salt of formic acid. This is cross Cannizzaro reaction, and we reach to the final product which is given in the question. So we have performed 3 times crossed aldol addition. We have performed 3 times crossed aldol addition. And 1 time crossed Cannizzaro reaction. Clear? So as per the given options, your answer must be C, because we have performed 3 times aldol addition reaction. So answer over here is C. Just check it carefully. If you have any confusion, just ask. Now move to the next question. Question number 26. It's given the color of the light absorbed by the aqueous solution of copper sulfate. So we all know that aqueous copper sulfate is CuSO4.5H2O form, which is of blue color. But the question is asked the light absorbed. So you all know that it is a complementary color theory concept. If compound is of blue color, then its complementary color wavelength is absorbed. So I've given you an idea of color wheel. So you may write the colors first. So it is with you. And if color shown is blue, then the wavelength absorbed it is complementary color, and the complementary color is this one. Is that clear first? So for blue, the complementary color is orange. So our color must be in the range of orange red. So as per the given options, we must write answer A. अगर हमें blue color notice में आ रहा है, then the wavelength absorbed is will be of orange red region. So your answer must be A. Question of complementary color theory or coordination compound. Is that okay? Now question number 27. 27 is given carbonyl functional group COH is present in. So you just write the structures quickly. Although if you have to just answer, then you know aspirin is acetyl salicylic acid, so it will certainly have COH group as it is a single option correct question. So there is not that much difficulty. But if you want to check all the cases, so first is picric acid. So picric acid is 2,4,6 trinitrophenol. 2,4,6 trinitrophenol. Then if you write barbutyric acid, then this is the structure. This is a barbutyric acid. And then ascorbic acid, you know it is vitamin C. And this is also referred as vitamin C. This is referred as vitamin C, and if you want to write structure, then this also does not contain any carboxylic acid group. This is your ascorbic acid, and aspirin is acetyl salicylic acid, which contains carboxylic acid group. So aspirin is acetyl salicylic acid. Aspirin is acetyl salicylic acid. So it contains a carboxylic acid group and an acetyl group. When phenol is treated with CS3COCl, it converts to acetyl salicylic acid, aspirin. So this contains your carboxylic acid group. So as per our given options, your answer must be B. This contains carboxylic acid group. So our answer must be B. Now there is no need of the structures for this question. But for futuristic angle, I have given you the structures for all the compounds: picric acid, barbutyric acid, ascorbic acid, and aspirin. Okay. Then the next question is asked: the kinetic energy of the electron in the second Bohr orbit of hydrogen atom is. So we all know that kinetic energy is opposite of sign of total energy. So we just write to, if we just want to write kinetic energy. So as per concept, kinetic energy is equal to minus times of total energy and half of the potential energy with a minus sign. This is a kinetic energy formula. And we all know electrostatic potential energy is minus 1 by 2 minus 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R. So for hydrogen atom, if we are writing, so it is Z E square by R. Okay. So either we can relate in this manner, or there is one more way. We can use Bohr's quantization rule, and VR is equal to NH upon 2 pi. So as we have to report in terms of radius, then also it is a direct method. So from here also we can report velocity. So with whatever formula it will match, we'll solve in that manner. So you can see that for hydrogen atom Z is 1, and we are not relating with E, so definitely we'll relate the second formula. So from here velocity will be NH upon 2 pi mr is equal to NH upon 2 pi mr. And the formula of radius is A naught into N square by Z. It simply means R is equal to A naught into N square for hydrogen atom. So if you substitute this in the above formula, then the formula of velocity will be NH upon 2 pi m into A naught into N square. Now this is same as H upon 2 pi m A naught into N. Okay. Now put value of N as 2 because second orbit is asked. So put N is equal to 2, velocity will be H upon 4 pi m A naught. And then the question is asked kinetic energy, which is half mv square. So from this, if you write kinetic energy, it will be 1 by 2 into m into h square upon 16 pi square m square A naught square. It's simply equal to mh square upon 32 pi square A naught square. Just a minute. You can cancel it. So pi A naught into m. So kinetic energy will be h square into 32 pi square upon m A naught square. So with respect to options, the answer will be C. H square upon 32 pi square m A naught square. Their answer is C. Okay. So both the ways are there. Either we'll calculate first velocity and then kinetic energy half mv square, or you may directly use this formula also. This will also work. But as here 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught term is incorporated, which is not given in the option. So we have changed this option. We haven't tried from this value. We have directly gone to velocity and then we have related to the radius. Okay, so both the ways are there. As per the options, we have selected the second method. Then question number 29 is given. Which of the following compound is according to the decreasing order of the oxygen state of nitrogen? So आपको quickly nitrogen oxygen state सीखने. I hope you can write all. In case of HNO3 it is +5. For NO it is +2. For NH4Cl it is -3. And for N2 it is 0. These are the oxygen states. And the question it is asked that you have to arrange them in the according to the decreasing order of the oxygen state. So decreasing order means you have to start from highest to lowest one. So order will be HNO3, then it is NO, then it is N2, and then finally it is NH4Cl. So given options reflects that answer is B. Okay. Then question number 30. 30 is given as per IUPAC nomenclature. The name of the complex. So it is a complex of cobalt. First you check the oxygen state. The oxidation number of cobalt will come out to be +3. Ligands are ammonia and water. We'll use the alphabetical order. So it is diamine, and in case of amine, we'll use double M. That is the only precaution which you have to take care. In the spelling of amine, it must be A double M, and we'll follow alphabetical order. So diamine, tetra aqua, cobalt 3 chloride. This must be the answer. So it is diamine, tetra aqua, or aqua you can write. So in the option it's given aqua, so we'll use aqua. Aqua, cobalt, and cobalt is part of cation, so no cobaltate, only cobalt. Oxygen state is 3, and the anion is chloride. So it is chloride. If you check with the options, your answer is D. Option C is rejected because in the spelling of amine it is given AMNINE, which is wrong. Option B is rejected because alphabetical order has not been followed. We have written tetra aqua first, then diamine. That is faulty thing. And in option A, it's given again the same problem: tetra aqua diamine. Amine spelling is also fault and order is also faulty. So answer must be D. While writing ammonia as a ligand, we will use the name amine, AMMINE, right? Then question number 31. 31 is given: identify the binary mixture that can be separated into individual compounds by differential extraction as shown in the figure. It's given a binary mixture containing compound 1 and 2. When we add NaOH, then also it is distinguishing between compound 1 and 2. And when we are adding NaHCO3, it is distinguishing between compound 1 and 2. So at the time of VOC, I have explained you with the 3 different reagents. We were using their sodium metal, NaOH, and NaHCO3 for carboxylic acid, alcohol, and phenol. For carboxylic acid, phenol, and alcohol. Then I told you that sodium metal will react with all 3. NaOH reacts with carboxylic acid and phenol, not with alcohol. And sodium carbonate only reacts with carboxylic acid, not phenol, not alcohol. Okay. So if you have to separate the 2 compounds, that means we must take 2 compounds out of which one reacts with the reagent while the other won't react with the reagent. Then only you can separate them. So if you check over here, in one test when we are using NaOH, then carboxylic acid is reacting, alcohol is not reacting. And with NaCO3 also carboxylic acid is reacting and alcohol is not reacting. Whereas with NaOH, carboxylic acid and phenol both are reacting, that means they can't be separated by that substance. With NaCO3, carboxylic acid and phenol can be separated, means with one mechanism they can be separated, while with another mechanism they cannot be separated. That means our compound combination must be alcohol and carboxylic acid. Is that clear? Because it is separated by both the mechanisms. So it simply means that the compound combination must be alcohol and carboxylic acid. So option A is not correct. Option B is carboxylic acid and alcohol. Option C is again alcohol and phenol. That will also not work. Last one is again carboxylic acid and alcohol. So that means you have to select a combination which one carboxylic acid, one alcohol should be present. So as per given options, your answer must be B. Sorry, B and D. It's a multi-correct question. Both the option B and D contains carboxylic acid and alcohol. So first case, NaOH will react with carboxylic acid, not alcohol. In second case also, sodium bicarbonate reacts with carboxylic acid with not with alcohol. So they can be easily separated out. Or you can say by both the processes they can be separated. So your answer will be B and D. If you use option A, then in case of option A, it is phenol and carboxylic acid combination. It simply means with mechanism 1, both will be dissolved. With mechanism 2, they can be separated. And in case of C option, it is alcohol and phenol. So in that case, with mechanism 1, they can be separated because phenol will react, alcohol will not react. While in mechanism 2, both will not react, so again can't be separated. So option A and D can be separated by one process, but not by the second process. So they are not the answers. Now question number 32.
सर एक बार ये टेबल बता दीजिए
For the stability of lyophobic colloidal particles. Now in the 32nd questions, you will choose the correct reason for the stability of lyophobic colloids particle. तो lyophobic colloidal particle जो होते हैं उनकी stability जो होती है that is with the 2-3 processes. First thing, like if you give some ion which can be adsorbed on their surface, then they can achieve their stability. Or mostly lyophilic colloids are adsorbed on them, which increases their stability. Or due to zeta potential also their stability is there. So check out the options. First option is given preferential adsorption of the ion on the surface of their solution. The correct answer is clear. Second option is given preferential adsorption of solvent on the surface of their solution. ये गड़बड़ हो गया. This is the cause of stability of lyophilic colloids. In lyophilic colloids, the dispersed phase and dispersion medium are extremely solvated. So in lyophilic salts, solvent have high affinity with their dispersed phase. That's why their stability is higher, which is not the case of lyophobic colloids. So option B is incorrect. Option C, it's given attraction between the different particles having opposite charge on their surface. So opposite charges on their surface have attraction, but that is not the cause of the stability, because by that time it is not converted into a diffused air and fixed air system to increase their zeta potential. Till then it won't increases their stability. So this is also incorrect statement. D option is given a potential difference between the fixed air and the diffused air of the oppositely charged around the colloidal particle. So this is the principal reason of their stability. This is called zeta potential, and as zeta potential will be more, colloidal solution will be more stable. So with respect to their answer, with respect to this phenomenon, we can write answer A and D, or you may write one more concept here: zeta potential higher implies more stability of lyophobic colloid. More stability of, and solvent stabilizes in lyophilic colloids, not in lyophobic colloids, because solvent has repulsive behavior or in lyophobic colloids. So more stable lyophobic colloids. So lyophobic colloids are either stabilized by protective colloids or through higher zeta potential. Right? So you may write one more thing, like lyophobic colloids stabilized by protective colloids, and protective colloids are mostly lyophilic colloids. Protective colloids. So here our answer is A and D. Okay. Now move to next question, question number 33. 33rd question is given, which of the following molecule in pure form is unstable at room temperature? So we know that anti-aromatic compounds are unstable at room temperature. So as per rule, anti-aromatic compounds are unstable. Anti-aromatic compounds are unstable. So you may see this compound is non-aromatic. This is anti-aromatic. And the C part, if you will check, and here polarity will be this minus, this plus, and this one. This is anti-aromatic. And if you check another next compound, it will convert to toponium cation. This one is aromatic. So unstable compounds are B and C. Okay. So anti-aromatic compounds are unstable. Compound A is non-aromatic, D is aromatic, so D is more stable. After that it is A. B and C are unstable compounds due to anti-aromatic character. So the answer must be B and C. The 34th question is given, which of the following hydrogen halide reacts with HNO3 to give precipitate that dissolves in Na2H2O3? So we all know that only two compounds of silver are water soluble. One is silver chloride, another is silver nitrate. So with HF, silver chloride will not precipitate. With HF, AgNO3 will not precipitate because silver chloride is water soluble. So concept over here is AgF and AgNO3 are water soluble. Except these two salt of silver, rest all are water insoluble. So definitely AgCl will precipitate, AgBr will precipitate, and AgI will precipitate. These all are precipitates. Now when they are treated with Na2H2O3, then it can dissolve them. So your answer must be A, C, and D. Answer must be A, C, and D. Okay, because it will convert to a silver complex formation. So in all three cases, it will convert to a silver complex. Hence, their solubility will be there. So complex will be AgH2O3 whole twice. With 3 minus. That is, it will be there. And likewise, other compounds will also form the similar complexes, so they will be soluble. That means your answer must be A, C, and D. Okay. The main concept of this question was that silver chloride is water soluble. And likewise, AgBr and AgI will also be soluble. Move to next question. This is question number 35. 35 is given, for an ideal gas, consider only PV work. Is going from a state X to a final state Z. The final state Z can be reached by either two paths shown in the figure. Which of the following choices are correct? Take delta S as the change in entropy, W as the work done. So we know that entropy change is a state function, so it depends only on initial and final state of the system. And work done is a path function. And it's given PV graph, so you can easily say that process XY is isobaric process and process YZ is isochoric process. And XZ is a generalized process, which is not known to us. So first path, it is given that when we check the entropy change from X to Z, it is sum of entropy change of X to Y and Y to Z. So that is simply correct. If you check entropy change of X to Z, then it is sum of X to Y, Y to Z, because initial and final states are same in both the cases. That is X to Z. So either we can't count it directly X to Z or we count it the another path, it will be same, because change in entropy is a state function process. So due to state function, whatever path will follow, the value won't change. So in first case, this is state function. So if you move X to Z directly, or you can follow a different path, X to Y and then Y to Z, then entropy change will be same. Next case, it is given work done from X to Z, yes, X to Y and Y to Z. It is not correct, because work done for the path X to Z will be different, because area under the curve is different, and X to Y and Y to Z summation will be different, because it is path function. So option B is incorrect. In option C, it's given work done of W, X, Y, Z, X to Y, Y to Z, and This is same as work done in the process of x and y. That is correct because Wxyz is same as Wxyz is same as Wxy plus Wyz. And we know that Yz process is isochoric. That's why this work done is 0. Because the process is isochoric. So we can write Wxyz is same as Wxy. But in case of entropy, you can't say that way because entropy change from xyz cannot be same as entropy change of x to y. Because it is a state function, initial and final state is changed, that means entropy change will be different. So delta S xyz cannot be equal to entropy change of x to y. Or you can simply write, we have to write the equality, then this is x to y plus y to z. And another term is not 0. You can't write that entropy change from x to y to z is same because initial and final state is same. In first case, it is initial state is x, final state is z. Second case, initial state is x, final state is y. So that value is not same. So that means with respect to options, A and C are correct. Option becomes incorrect. D is path function, and in case of D, it is simply addition. Initial and final states are different, so entropy change cannot be same. Next question is question number 36. 36 is given the substituent R1 and R2 for 9 peptides are listed in the table given below. How many of these peptides are positively charged at pH 7? Means you have to check in all these cases where the behavior is cationic. So the basic logic is, you can see that here it is given in the form of a zwitterand. This is anionic form, this is cationic form, so this is actually neutral form. So in case of group R1 and R2, if you place a group which is more acidic, so at pH 7, it will lose its H plus and it will be available in the form of anion. And if it is more basic, then it will accept H plus ion and becomes cationic form. And the question is asked that 9 peptides listed in the table below, how many of these peptides are positively charged? So right now the form given is zwitterand form. If R1 and R2 will consider as the neutral groups, which does not give any charge to the system. But in actual, if I'll select R1 and R2 a combination where it will be more basic than the H plus form, so it will accept proton from water, it will convert to a cationic form. That is actually the concept. And if you take carboxylic acid groups, or better to say more acidic groups, then it will lose its H plus and will convert finally to what you'll say anionic form. Right? Concept is clear first. The concept is okay. R1 and R2 should be the group which are basic in nature, because that only will accept H from water, it will convert to a cationic form. So option, the first row is not possible because both are H. Second one is also not possible, both are hydrocarbon. Third one is not possible because if carboxylic acid is there, it will lose its H plus, will convert to anion, or you may say negatively charged. As per the question, if we have to write, we'll write it is negatively charged. Next here is basic side, so it will certainly be positively charged because of this group. And another group is also not acidic, which cannot give us H plus to CH2 whole 4 NH2, so it will remain in the positive form. Next group, both are the amphoteric groups like CONH2 or CONH2, so they are not strongly acidic or basic, which can lose its H plus and OH minus in water medium. So this is rejected again. Next case, it is both basic groups, so it will accept H plus, so it will reach to a dicationic form. Both are the groups which are basic. Is that clear? So this will be positively charged. Next case, if you see, it is carboxylic acid group, so it will be again negatively charged. Next group, one alcohol and another group is amine. So it is again basic side. So it will be positively charged. In the last group, again we have a amine group and a hydrocarbon. So amine group will accept a proton, so it will be again positively charged. These are the groups which can accept proton. So your answer must be 4. Let's check the question. It's a very good question. Answer will be 4 over here. Done. Then question number 37. 37 is given the periodic table contains 18 groups. An isotope of copper on bombardment with proton undergoes a nuclear reaction yielding an element X shown below. To which group element X belongs in the periodic table? So you have to decide with its atomic number, right? So just write down first the atomic number of that element. So it's given 29 copper 63. Proton bombardment will form 2He4, 6 neutrons, and X. So you know in the nuclear reactions, sum of atomic number and mass number is same. So if I'll assume that element X has atomic number Z, mass number A, and as per equation, 29 plus 1 must be equal to 2 plus Z. So Z must be 28. Although we just want periodic table position, so atomic number is sufficient. If we need mass number, that can also be calculated. So it is 63 plus 1 is equal to 4 plus 6 plus 8. So from here we'll get mass number as 54. Okay.
56.
Copper 63 है ना बेटा. So mass number आया 54. Okay. So
सर Z तो 26 होगा सर.
हाँ?
सर Z 26 होगा ना, क्योंकि 2 हाइड्रोजन भी निकल रहे.
2 हाइड्रोजन. अच्छा सॉरी, यहाँ पे ध्यान दिया. So plus 2H1 हो रहा है. हमने अपनी इक्वेशन ही गलत लिखी है. Just one. इक्वेशन में प्लस 2H1 और है. It is missed actually. 2 प्रोटॉन और रिलीज होने बाद में. So it is 29 plus 1 is equal to 2 plus Z plus 2. So Z will be 26 and mass number will be 29 plus 1 is equal to 2 plus 6, 4 plus 6 plus 2 plus 8. So this becomes 63 plus 1 is equal to 4 plus 6 plus 2 plus 8. So from here mass number will come out to be 64, 52. So your element X is actually 2652, and for 26 you know it is iron configuration is organ 4s2 3d6. So group of periodic table will be 8. Group of periodic table will be 8. Okay. Group is for D block element, group is decided by sum of valence shell s electron and n minus 1 d electrons. So 4s2 3d6. Position periodic table is group number 8. Period number 4, D block element. The complete position we लिखे, that one can also be given. It is 4th period, D block. Right? Then comes question number 38. It's when and its answer will be 8 over here. Next question is given, which of the following aldohexose exists in its D configuration? The total number of stereoisomers of this pyranose form. So we know in pyranose form, we have to convert the structure in a 6-member ring. So just mark the carbon first. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So as we want 6-member ring, it simply means that this oxygen lone pair of electron must attack on this carbon. And we want D configuration, that means CH2 must be at up position. So this is the pyranose structure in which we want CH2 at top position because it is given D pyranose form. So this CH2 must be at top. This ensures its D position. And 6-member ring with the oxygen confirms its pyranose form. This must be the structure. Now you have to put the valencies. So in terms of valency, at this position, 2 options are there, H and OH. Carbon number 2, both are H. Carbon number 3, it's H and OH. Carbon number 4, again H and OH. And carbon number 5, CH2 must be up because it's given D. So as per the structure, this is one chiral center, this is another chiral center, and this is another chiral center, around which configuration can be changed. So we have 3 chiral centers, so totals, and there's no symmetry in this structure. So total isomers, stereoisomers possible will be 2 power 3, that means 8. So if I write the answer, so number of stereoisomers which have D configuration, that means although this position is also a chiral center position, but this we are not including because it's given in the question, it is D configuration. So that configuration you can't disturb. This is also a chiral center position, but we are not disturbing it because D configuration is given in the question, that is fixed. Pyranose structure is fixed, that we also can't change. We can only change the position around 3 star carbon. So number of stereoisomers will be 2 power 3. Number of stereoisomers will be equal to 2 power 3, which is simply 8. The answer for this question is 8. Okay. So you should be aware of pyranose structure, one thing. Second thing, you must be aware of D configuration. So if you ensure 2 things, pyranose structure, D configuration, that means you will certainly reach to your answer. Pyranose structure, D configuration. 2 things you have to ensure. And then 3 positions have a variable option where OH and H position can be changed. So 2 power 3, 8 options are there. So 8 is stereoisomers. Right? Then question number 39. In question number 39, it's given 29.2% weight by weight HCl stock solution has density 1.25 gram per ml. The molecular weight of HCl is 36.5 gram per mole. Volume in milliliter of the stock solution is required to prepare 200 ml of the solution of 0.4 m HCl. So you know that by addition of water, moles of solute won't change. So number of moles of solute, you just fix them. So first what you have to do is for a stock solution, you have to calculate the molarity. So step 1 is you want molarity of stock solution. So we can write since 100 gram solution contains 29.2 gram of HCl. So 100 divided by 1.25 ml solution contains same 29.2 by 36.5 mole HCl. Therefore, 1000 ml solution contains how many moles is the molarity? So 29.2 divided by 36.5 into 100 into 1.25 into 1000. This is actually molarity. Or many of you are aware of the formula also. This percentage by weight into density into 10 by molecular mass से भी solve कर सकते थे. यहाँ से molarity solve होके आ गई आपकी directly. 29.2 into 12.5 by 36.5. This is molarity. Now from this stock solution, you want 200 ml 0.4 m HCl. That means moles of HCl you have to equate. So if you take VML of the solution, that is 29.2 into 12.55, 36.5 into V must be equal to 200 ml 0.4 m HCl. And here you will solve value as V. That must be your answer. Okay. If you solve it, comes out to be 8 ml. Okay. And question number 40 is given an organic compound undergoes a first order decomposition. The time taken for the decomposition of 1 by 8 decomposition to 1 by 8 and 1 by 10 of initial concentration are T1 by 8 and T1 by 10 respectively. Then the value of T1 by 8 and T1 by 10 into 10 you have to calculate. So simply first order kinetics T1 by 8 means initial concentration C0 to 7 C0 by 8. Time taken for decomposition to 1 by 8 of initial concentration, sorry. So it is C0 to C0 by 8. And T1 by 10 simply means C0 to C0 by 10. So if you calculate T1 by 8, then this is simply 3 times T half. Okay. So the time taken for the decomposition to 1 by 8 of its initial concentration are T1 by 8. So initial concentration was C0. So T1 by 8 is nothing but 3 times of T half, because C0 to C0 by 2 in 1 T half, C0 by 4 to next T half, C0 by 8 to next T half. So it is 3 T half. And T1 by 10, if you calculate, then it is by the formula 2.303 by T, 2.303 by K into log of C0 by C0 by 10. So log 10, this is 1, so T1 by 10 is nothing but 22.303 by 0.693 by T half, so into T half basically. So T1 by 10 is nothing but T half by 0.3. So the question it is asked that you have to report T1 by 8 by T1 by 10 into 10. So this is 3 T half by T half into 0.3 into 10, which is simply 9. Okay. So answer for this question is 9. Okay.